Welcome back to another video installment of ECIO. This is part 1, the Introduction to Portfolio Management, Governance, and Alignment using ECIO. There are other videos, related videos on this topic. Part 2 will look at strategies, strategic buckets, and strategic intentions as they pertain to portfolio management. Part 3 will look at the details within portfolio management, their attributes, along with several of the interfaces. Part 4 will look at governance and alignment reporting. But we will touch upon these topics in this introduction video. The value proposition to using ECIO for portfolio management is you can see the results of various models and prioritization schemes and in action and decide how you best want to employ those. We've used a series of books that form the background and the basis to some of this information, and we'll look at those. Some of them we'll bring those up. We'll show you a little bit about them. So as always, we can do a search on portfolio. For our artifacts, we've got a number of the books listed, and so these are some of the books that we've used, concepts, some of the material in it, some great books out through that, and feel free. You can see that there's a number of them used in through that one. I would encourage you to, if you ever pick up a copy of these, some of these can illustrate some of the concepts. You can use those on it. One in particular, we're just going to show you a little bit about it, is the Enterprise Project Portfolio, Building Competencies for R&D and IT, Investment Success. And we'll actually, towards the end of this, show you a little bit of give you a little bit of a taste of some of the concepts from that and how we've employed that. So as always, brings up the demographics for the artifact. You can also pick it up at J. Ross, another great publisher out through that. We haven't put all the information in, but as you know, when you click on the shopping basket, it'll bring you to Amazon, and you can have a look at and purchase the book, look at the reviews, what you think of it, etc. And as I mentioned, we have it. We think it's a great book as well. And that. Okay. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of some of the material and background that we've included in it. Some of the things, just to give you an example of what we have in the back end of this, we're going to look at just a quick summary, the previews of some of the material that we've got contained in this one, and that we'll be talking about later on. So these are a series of portfolios that we have included in this particular back end. As you know, in some cases we don't have them all tied in. We're looking at getting those tied in and organized a little bit better, but depending upon the company that we have tied in and some others, then you can see the portfolios on that one. And if you went into corporate, the corporate will show you the portfolios that are tied to that organization or to the corporate umbrella. Other items, as we mentioned, you can look at it. We have strategies and this one. So these are several of the strategies that we've been looking at. Again, some of these strategies and are related to portfolios or a series of portfolios and projects within this. Other ones are strategic buckets. So there's lots of things out there that talk about how you organize these ones. This one needs a little bit more organization, but we do have several portfolios tied to each of these. We had the Bain Capital Balance Scorecard. If there's a couple of different strategic buckets, corporate, functional. So there's different ways when when we talk about strategic buckets, that when you bring up these ones in future video, we'll talk a little bit about how these are balanced, what the weighting factors are, how you go into using and adjusting your portfolio based upon whatever model you happen to be using. So we got Gardner, we got HP, we got market segment, and so a number of these portfolios kind of cross boundaries, and then you can set them up to come in at a high level. So we have product groups, we have regions, and this is illustrating of the tree view. So we can kind of tie these all in together. What we want to do, grow the business, risk management. So it allows us a number of different ways in order to assess our portfolio and judge it, and then make sure we're optimizing our portfolio from a series of different types of criteria and organization to our portfolio. So that's strategic buckets. The other one we have here, strategic intentions. So here's some of our strategic intentions. So that's based upon overall corporately what we're trying to do. And then what we can do is pull out our FTEs, our budgeting, dollars spent, etc. And then have those ones kind of blend into from a top down and bottom up approach to how we're organizing our portfolio on this side of it. So that just gives you a little bit of an idea. As we mentioned, part 2, part 3, we'll start to go into some of those information. So what we're going to do is we saw with one of the portfolios, there's a portfolio on resiliency, operational assurance, and sustainability. So this is some of the information we're tracking into it. As we mentioned, part 2 is going to talk a little bit and get into more details on what each of these mean and how you can kind of manage to it. Scope of oversights, deployment, if there's anything on that side of it. Risks, there's some other factors that we're using for calculating issue and ranking, weighting for factors. So these things actually can help out and for you to adjust your portfolio. Some of the other things with your portfolio you may want to do: hurdle rates, budget allocations, making sure that the programs and your projects kind of blend into your portfolio on it. CapEx, OpEx, StratEx is a little bit of a new item that some people are working towards, and you can optimize and take your portfolio, different ways to look at your portfolio and making sure you're doing the right thing. And this allows you to be live as well, so you can kind of run it on whenever you're doing your evaluation. If you're doing your evaluation of your portfolio on a quarterly basis, then you can kind of look at it and say, okay, are we optimized as we drop something else, as we change the corporate structure or corporate viewpoints, weighting what we want to try to change. Competitive analysis may dictate where you need to go within this one. So that is, and then there's some basic narratives of value, certain other criteria that's tied into this. So that talks a little bit about some of the general dynamics to our portfolio. Is, if we click on the high bar here, this is this is some of the information we collect on our portfolio: applications, changes, the programs, projects. You can roll up strategic buckets. So these things are, there's a couple of things that we're just trying to make sure get included into that we'll be able to see on future releases on this. And for reporting, here's some of the reports. We'll show you a little bit more about this. The ranking, your burn rates, some of your listings in through this we'll show you as well. So that's some of the interfaces. As I mentioned, part 2 will talk a little bit more detailed in each of those and go into those ones in detail and show you some examples on it. The other one is, I wanted to kind of show you a little bit, just is some of the cash flow. Actually, that's tied into your programs and your portfolios. You can start to look at it. There's some of these bang for the buck should be that force ranking some of the dollars in through it. If we actually look at going into a cash flow, we'll show you a little bit about what we'll do is we'll close this and we'll go into our cash flow directly from this. Go into our cash flow, and so these are some of the cash flow items. What we want to tie, if we want to tie it into portfolio, you can drill down into it a little bit more if you just want to tie it to cash flow from a portfolio perspective. And this, and I'll show you how this ties into your investment, some of the rationale where it needs to fit on that side of it. For reporting, I'm going to show you a couple of the reports that are included in this. We'll just search for any of the reports. Okay, we're back. So this shows you some of the reports that are available for investments. Like within this one, there's some other ones, different models. There's evaluation estimation models. We didn't show you those. Actually, we can show you those now. Okay, we have some scoring models. Let's do scoring models here. So this shows you some of the scoring models that we have: place, abbreviated, customer feedback, some of these other Delphi, DuPont, estimation, HP differentiation, force. So these are kind of scoring models used for evaluation and estimation. So there's a few, there's N pairs you can do through the N pair. We'll show you a couple of different ways. Royal Bank of Canada and how they adjust their portfolio. The self-evaluation, a weighted N pair. But there's a couple of these models that you can get feedback. A number of people kind of go through and provide feedback. There's also, and what we can show you here is there's a couple of different reports. N pairs, the easiest one. There's weighted N pairs, which just goes in, just talks a little bit about putting a weight as you adjust your projects and like within that one. The final one I'll show you, just to give you a little bit of an example of some of the ways that ECIO can help you. And this actually ties back to the book that we were showing earlier. So here is some investment scenarios. We'll talk a little bit about how that relates. If you pick up the book, you'll certainly see this a little bit in more detail in the background. But we'll show you some of the things that we're capturing in this one. So we're capturing this one, the details, the projects aligned. So this allows you to kind of take another mechanism based upon your resources, how you need to do it, and put those all into place. But we have a separate video because this is a lot more involved into how you go through this particular model for selecting and adjusting your portfolio. It's a little bit more involved, but it's actually a live working example. You can see, and then you can adjust your own. Bring it in and adjust it for your own suitable needs on that side of it. So that brings us to the end of this particular video. I hope it was informative, and if you have questions, again, you can get a hold of us at support.ecio.com or visit our website to pick up a copy of the front end, which allows you to work with each of these different varying back ends, and you can check out the video, more videos. Thank you very much for listening.